as a forward.
And he's such a nice, genuine kid.
Yeah.
He's not arrogant, pompous, and stuck up, and everything that he could be.
And coming and clapping for all the fans all around the stadium. He knows what he needs to the club.
Yeah. So a couple of things. I think when he did the lap of honor, because he loves the fans love him, and when they're singing he's one of their own. He had to do that, but he wanted to do it. It's not like anyone asked him, and it wasn't pompous, it wasn't arrogant, it was just appreciative of the support that we give him, and to see him well up, because he did, that put a lump in my throat. My TV screen got a bit fuzzy. I honestly thought that the signal was fading in and out, but I realized it was something in my eyes causing that, because... And that's why he loves us, because we love him and he gets it. He's a Spurs fan. He's a Spurs player. He understands what it means to all of us. He understood what it meant to win the North London derby. It's not about a cup final. It's about bragging rights that we're the number one team in North London. And we are this season. It's not every season, but we are this season. And bloody hell, that's great. It's a wonderful feeling. So it's not about cup finals.
And he recognizes that because of his upbringing, and he sat on the bench last year.
Yep.
And he sat on the bench at the beginning of this year, and he watched the growing pains at the beginning of this season as Pochettino was trying to figure out his players. At the beginning of the season, he's looking around and going, "There's my senior guys. So Kabul, you're my captain, and Addy and Larish will be my co-captains." If he had that to do all over again, but this is the kind of learning curve that he had to go through. Kane recognized the frustration. He doesn't want to see people out in front protesting in front of White Hart Lane with Levy out signs and Poch out signs. It's ridiculous to think that that's even going on. I understand the frustration of fans, but you got to give... Listen, everybody wanted Spurs never play the Spurs way. This guy is. Pochettino is. The system he is implementing is. You're not going to find anybody else in Europe that's going to come to Tottenham and do what he is doing and implement the system that he is putting in for these players to run. The reason that Mason and Bentaleb and Dyer and all these 20, 21, 19, 22-year-olds are on the pitch is because they will run their socks off. Because they know all they have to do is put in not just a shift, but a massive shift. And make sure you're earning every... Did they not win every 50-50 ball in that match just about?
Yeah.
You mentioned tenacity. That's what this is about. And Harry recognizes, and I think that's why he did that lap of honor, because he knows those fans have been pretty, you can say long-suffering, season and a half, whatever it's been, and now it's starting to turn the corner. It's almost like his affirmation to the fans, like, this is our team, this is what you guys have to look forward to, and it's just the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have to kiss the badge to prove a point.
No.
It's interesting, Martin Cloake, who's going to be our guest next week, correct?
Yep.
He pitched.
Powley,
he pitched something on Twitter this morning. What was it that Kane said when he leaned into the camera at the end of the derby? And I think I picked up on it, and it was something like, "Gotta love a North London derby, eh?" And I had to feel for him. He's doing this walk around the pitch, and there's the guy on the camera just right by him the whole time. And then you see some of the media shots of the guy doing it, and he's probably like, I wish you'd go away. And he had to say something. And you know what? What else is he going to say? He's not. He's too humble to say, anything arrogant that we would say. So for him to say, "Hey, you got to love a North London derby," it's somewhat neutral, but we all know it's like, "Hey, we won," and it's not about me. It's just we won, and North London is lily white.
Lily white. And as we move into the upcoming fixtures, big one tomorrow at Anfield against Liverpool, and then we get a 9-day break before playing the home-at-home with Fiorentina with West Ham sandwiched in between. Going into Anfield, Liverpool, they're on great form. They struggled a little bit against a pretty depleted Everton side. I don't think Leighton Baines played in that game, and they really couldn't do anything. I'm hearing already that Coutinho and Sterling are questionable for this. And
really,
who's the other one? Matinho? No, I don't know what his name is. Somebody else is out. One of their regular starters is out. So they may be going in. I mean, we came out of that, match healthy against the Scum, and not so much for Liverpool. They're going to be hurting a little bit tomorrow. We need to take advantage of that. And I've already told myself, and I've convinced myself, I will be extraordinarily satisfied with a draw. I will be. And a win would put me over the moon. I mean,
I wouldn't, after such an incredibly sort of torrid January, an Arsenal fixture, Liverpool. We've got a little bit of rest. It wouldn't be the end of the world if we got a point for Noir. I mean, it's a very, very hard place to play.
Yeah, and with the top 6, 7, whatever it is, being so compact, especially right around the 3, 4, 5, 6 positions, all within 2-3 points of each other.
Yeah, any of those teams who play,
would be great, because
any of those. Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna say we're already ahead of Liverpool, so if you can just maintain that little bit of a gap, and then concentrate on the one in front of you, I think Southampton, they have a tough fixture this week. I'm trying to remember who.
Southampton, United, Arsenal, all are at home, and Liverpool obviously. So that's kind of tough. So that's everyone around us is at home while we're away.
But think of this.
Chelsea are home, correct? Yeah, because they won at Villa, and City are away. So for us to stay in the hunt, we do have to at least draw. I mean, is it the end of the world if we lose? No. You don't want to have an 8 in the loss column, which we would. And the next team with 8 losses is down in 9th, which is Swansea. So we haven't got a lot of draws this season. We got 4. The only team above us or around us actually with less than that is Southampton with 3, and that's why they are where they are. And it's probably where we are, because we're winning or losing it and not getting those draws, whereas last season would pick up those draws. So, we haven't won at Anfield for a while. It's a tough place to play. It's, we had that 73-year run from the year the Titanic sank till Garth Crooks pulled the winner in 1985, I believe, to end that jinx. And we've won a few times since. So it isn't the fortress it used to be. Liverpool aren't the team of the 80s or the 70s. No. And then certainly not even the team from last season. Now, are we going to get beaten 4-0? I would hope not. I don't think we're capable of that right now, the mentality we have. But anything could happen there, and I really hope we can get a positive result. But I think if I had to pick the result, it would probably be a draw.
I'd welcome it. Look, any of the top 6 teams that play Liverpool towards the latter part of the season, it's going to be a very, very tough fixture. More to play with, or should I say, more to play for. And I feel like if you nick a point, I think a lot of these other teams that are every bit as desperate to get points in latter parts of the season will feel pressure. And so and as you said, Dottie, I mean it's not been a historically good place for us to.
No. And we've still got some more tough away games. Southampton, United. Those are going to be very, very tough trips. Stoke are, I think, the 3rd best formed team right now. Granted, it's going to be a while before we have to play them, and hopefully that streak of theirs has gone off the rails. Everton, not having the greatest season. They're stuck in 12th place. We have to go play them. And that's, from a tricky away standpoint, that's about it. And we got a lot of great home ties coming up. Newcastle, who knows what they're going to do.
Talk about Jekyll and Hyde.
Well, appointing what's his face as their caretaker manager. Name escapes me. It'll come to me at the end of the pod. Anyway, that says a lot. They've resigned themselves to going through the rest of the season in mid-table obscurity. My mate Mick will kill me for saying that, but I think he'd probably also agree that there's no ambition in that. It's kind of like when Hoddle was sacked and we said, well, Pleat will stay in charge for the rest of the season. It's like, season's over. You're not going to crack the top 4. You might have a good cup run. now you got to really make sure you stave off relegation. And I think Newcastle are in a good enough place in the table where that won't happen. But I think that's a bad decision on their part to kind of say for the last 40% of the season that, well, we're going to stick with this guy and we'll see how it goes. But yeah. I would say this really wasn't on the agenda, talking about the outlook for the rest of the season, so I'll shut up now.
No, that's okay. And it's interesting that a lot of these teams, as the transfer window passed, a lot of people were saying, some of these clubs that are trying to stave off relegation, why aren't they making a move? And when we played West Brom, we may have had more people at the Hawthorns than they did. It was empty in parts of that stand. Mm-hmm. And the same thing, I watched the Newcastle-Stoke match over the weekend. St. James Park, that is supposed to be a little bit of a fortress for Newcastle. They take their football very seriously up there, and good on them for that. A quarter empty, at least a quarter empty, if not more. Yeah. And it blew me away that just because the team is struggling or there's a little bit of turmoil, I understand it. It's not the cheapest thing in the world to go to the games every week. But that's, they usually pack that place and they turn it into a bit of a fortress. So that was a little shocking to me. The Fiorentina matches are interesting to me. Again, we've talked about this with Davey Elder and Rob White when they were on with us last week. How much stock do you put into it? You get 9 days off, and then you play West Ham 3 days later. So you want to field a strong side, I think, against Fiorentina. There's a lot going into this Europa League thing with the Champions League implication and everything else. But I think this fixture tomorrow is going to give Pochettino a really good gauge on how well his team is going to play on 3 days rest. And this will be the same exact scenario, Fiorentina to West Ham, because I know he would love to probably field a very strong side for that home tie against Fiorentina, try to figure out a way to batter them 3 or 4-0, and then field a little bit of a weaker team on the road leg and just see if you can hold on. Because the West Ham fixture, obviously, the league, has to take precedent. And if it means just completely slagging off this whole Europa League thing, concentrating on this cup final and concentrating on the league, I hate saying it, but I think I'm okay with that but on the other hand, I want them to be doing well in all these competitions and all the cups. I think we have the squad for it, and if the system is starting to click like I think it's starting to click, why not go for it?
Well, you get 3 points tomorrow, and the narrative changes, and we're talking about a lot of really exciting things. And
we've got 2 hours more rest than Liverpool have, so get in there.
Should be massive. Oh God.
John Carver, by the way. There you go.
There you go. See, I
knew his name would come.
You kind of hinted on it earlier, Simon. Martin Cloake, Adam Powley, they're going to be on the show with us next week.
Yep.
Legends. God, Martin Cloake's a great guy.
I know you had such a good time with him, did you not?
Man, he's unbelievable. Yes, absolutely. And I just didn't realize what a venerable author he is. I mean, he has written so many books, and you never know it. He doesn't have an air of sort of precociousness about it. He's a really just nice guy. Awesome. Just nice guy.
And I know that, as you guys know, Simon is kind of our resident anorak and human encyclopedia of Spurs knowledge and books and whatnot. So I want to go ahead and give him the floor with this. We're going to talk about The Boys from White Hart Lane. Wonderful book that covers multiple players that Martin and Adam both wrote. So Simon, if you would, please do the honors.
Yeah, it's not very often I do 2 book reviews, but we did this last night. This book, I'm trying to think when it came out. It's a few years now. It's a phenomenal book. I've bought numerous and read numerous books over the years. It came out in 2008. And it really is a collection of interviews and stories of what is arguably the last great Spurs team, the early 80s team that went to 4 cup finals, 2 FA Cups, 1 League Cup, the Milk Cup, and the UEFA Cup, and won 3 of them. And it was all under General Birkinshaw, Ozzy Ardiles, Ricky Villa, Glenn Hoddle, a phenomenal team of predominantly homegrown players from the British Isles, with the exception of the two Argentinian midfield maestros. And